The film is the story of what happened when this guy tried to make a documentary about me, but he was actually a lot more interesting than I am.
What does a 20-year-old fake cave painting, a $25 million shredded canvas, and a censored mural from this year, what do they all have in common? They are all traps. And for 20 years, we've watched our most powerful institutions, our museums, our markets, and our governments fall right into it. You're wrong about Banksy.
Maybe it means art is a bit of a joke.
The art isn't the point. The real art is the societal satire that happens next. For 2 decades, the world has been obsessed with the wrong questions. We ask, who is Banksy? We obsess over the identity, hunting for a name like a tabloid journalist. We ask, how much is it worth? We obsess over the price tags, treating spray paint like stock options. We're trained to see the art as the final product. We see a stencil of a rat on a tube carriage or a girl with a balloon on a canvas. We see it on the 10 o'clock news, valued in the millions, and we think we understand. But this is the first illusion. We've been staring so hard at the paint. We've missed the performance. The object you see on the wall, that's just the bait. The real art is the reaction. It's the chaos, the confusion, and the absurdity that follows when authority figures try to deal with it. To prove it, we just need to look at the evidence. We can close this case with 3 key exhibits: a museum, a market, and a government. And it all started with a piece of concrete and a permanent marker. Between 2003 and 2005, Banksy conducted a series of reverse heists. While most criminals break in to steal art, Banksy broke in to leave it. He infiltrated the Louvre in Paris and the Tate in London. But his masterpiece of institutional trolling was in 2005. His target? The British Museum, the very symbol of cultural authority and expert knowledge. The bait was a piece of concrete he called Peckham Rock. It looked like a prehistoric cave painting, but with a twist. It depicted a primitive stick figure human pushing a modern supermarket shopping cart. Banksy didn't just mail it in. He walked into the museum and stuck it on the wall himself using heavy-duty tape. But the genius was in the detail. He installed a fake museum-quality information label next to it. The label credited the artist as Banksimus Maximus. It dated the object to the post-catatonic era. It was a blatant joke, a challenge. Now, the art is the performance of the institution's blindness. For 3 whole days, no one noticed. Not the expert curators who walk those halls daily. Not the security guards protecting the real treasures. Not the public who stared at it with the same reverence they gave the Rosetta Stone. It just blended in. When the hoax was finally revealed by Banksy himself, the museum was incredibly embarrassed. They were the gatekeepers of culture, and they couldn't distinguish a prank from a prehistoric artifact. But the final punchline came years later. The British Museum didn't destroy the rock. They added Peckham Rock to their permanent collection. They even started selling wooden replicas of it in their gift shop. The trap was so good, the mark had no choice but to monetize the joke. Banksy had proven the experts were blind. Next, he would prove the wealthy were too. For his next performance, Banksy targeted the art market. The Mark, Sotheby's, one of the world's most exclusive auction houses. The bait, his most famous painting, Girl with Balloon. It was housed in a thick, ornate, Victorian-style frame. A frame that auction specialists later admitted was comically large for the canvas. But no one asked why. They just saw the dollar signs. The scene was set. October 2018. A packed room of wealthy collectors. The gavel slammed. Sold. for $1.4 million, a record price for the artist. And then the performance began. A beeping alarm sounded from inside the frame. The canvas began to slide down, passing through a hidden row of razor blades. It emerged from the bottom in shredded strips, dangling like spaghetti. The crowd gasped. People filmed on their phones. The expert dealers looked on in horror. The head of art at Sotheby's famously told the press, "It appears we just got Banksy'd." But the trap was even more brilliant than they knew. The buyer, a female European collector, didn't pull out of the deal. She realised she now owned something rarer than a painting. She owned a moment. Banksy's authentication body, Pest Control, issued a new certificate. They gave the half-shredded trash a new title. Love is in the bin. And here is the punchline. The real art, the performance of destroying the painting, made it more valuable. 3 years later, the shredded piece was resold at the same auction house. The price? $25.3 million, an increase of over 1,700%. The trap had worked perfectly. The performance proved that the art market is a satire of itself. It proved the value isn't in the craft or the image. It's in the story, the hype, and the spectacle. He had trapped the institution and the market, but his 2025 performance would trap his biggest mark yet: the state. On September 6, 2025, a protest group demonstrated against a new government ban on Palestine support. The state's response was overwhelming. Over 800 peaceful protesters were arrested overnight in a show of force. 48 hours later, Banksy places his bait. The target: the Royal Courts of Justice in London, the very centre of British state power. The bait was a mural painted on the Queen's Building, a modern extension of the court. It depicted a judge in a traditional white wig and gown. But instead of holding a gavel of justice, he was beating a cowering protester. The protester held a placard spattered with red paint. It was a visceral, undeniable critique of the state's crackdown on dissent. Banksy lit the fuse, and the performance began almost immediately. Within 24 hours, the trap was sprung. Authorities, in a blind panic, became the art. They didn't just remove the mural. They covered it with thick black plastic sheeting. They erected tall metal barriers to block the view. They posted 24/7 security guards to stand watch over the blank wall. The reaction was the masterpiece. The guards, the plastic, the barriers. It created a new, living installation that screamed censorship. The official excuse was bureaucratic. HM courts and tribunals claimed the building was Grade 1 listed, and the art had to be removed to preserve its character. But this was a transparent lie. The mural was on a modern section of the complex, and the removal was so hasty, scrubbed by industrial cleaners, that it left a ghostly, ugly outline on the stone. They damaged the building more by removing it than by leaving it. As the Good Law Project noted on social media, they censored a piece of art that was literally mocking censorship. And by doing so, they proved his point in real time. The performance was complete. The state, trying to hide a picture of its own injustice, ended up creating an even bigger, clearer picture of it for the world to see. You're wrong about Banksy. We all were. We've been trained to look at the object, the rock, the canvas, the painted wall. But we were just looking at the bait. Banksy isn't an artist in the traditional sense. He's a social psychologist, a cultural investigator. His real canvas is not the wall. It's our society. He doesn't paint pictures. He orchestrates social experiments. The Peckham Rock proved our experts are just following a script. The Shredder proved our markets are a financial black comedy. And the censored mural proved our state will reveal its own authoritarian panic. If you just give it the right cue, the real art is the performance. It's the moment the museum is embarrassed. It's the sound of the $25 million gavel. It's the sight of the plastic-wrapped wall, guarded by the state. Banksy just holds up the mirror. The real art is watching ourselves react.